Blessed morning, collective. Right on time, right on freaking time. I had been feeling, there's some neighbors, predicting this is not the accurate word, feeling into the energy that this is the general time period of not just transition, but emotional clarity. Epiphanies, if you will. Particularly for the divine feminine, they are internal realizations, but spurred by external events. And I mean, I think that's true for everybody, but yeah, it's a time of increasing emotional clarity, particularly on the topic of love and what love really is in every fashion. Doesn't have to just be romantic love. We're talking about unconditional love. What actually is love? And for a very long time, I have felt that love that isn't unconditional is not truly love. I mean, sure, it's a version. We put that label on it, and I'm not going to say it isn't, but it's a half spectrum version. It's a smaller, limited version. It's missing components, and so it's not really the real deal. It's not the full thing. It's not true unconditional love in all of its glory. And I had that event for me that took place just a few minutes ago, and it was very clear that, first of all, so I have love for my ex. I love my ex. I appreciate her. We were in a relationship for 10 years. I believed, and I'm not going to say that I wasn't in love with her. It was as much love as I understood how to feel or give. It's as much as I was capable at that time. Now, my understanding of love is expanded to the point that looking at that in the way that I was loving and participating in that was such a small, it was that little sliver. It was, one shade of one color on the entire spectrum that is love, the multicolored, multifaceted rainbow of unconditional love. It was just a teeny tiny portion, and it wasn't true unconditional love as much as I believed it to be, because I didn't have that experience. I didn't understand it. Now my perception is broader. My consciousness, my perception of all that is expanded. Primarily because my perception and experience of love is bigger and all inclusive, and becomes more and more unconditional each day. See, that's the thing, is it's ever more unconditional. But this morning, just a brief conversation and realizing that we do not have the same definition of love. That's kind of a major thing. We do not believe love to be the same. We don't experience it the same. We don't define it the same. From her perspective, and this I feel is true for much of the world, from her perspective, love is worry. If you love somebody, you're worried about them, and that worry, it's like, that's what it is. Of course, I love you, so I worry about you. To me, it's the opposite. It's the actual opposite. If you truly love, you don't worry. You're not worried. You are not concerned. You are loving unconditionally in the way that Source loves and goes, yeah, you're good. Of course you're good. You are a divine deliberate creator. You are guided and supported. You have your own connection to the Source that is within you and is you. Nothing stands in the way of that. Certainly not me. You're good. Of course. And I'm not worried. I am not worried that you are divinely guided and on this path and supported by the universe and moving towards all which you truly desire and all that is your soul's destiny and intention to experience in this lifetime. I love you. You're good as you are. I'm not worried. And so from the other side of that, it's hearing that feels like an insult. And I must allow that. For me to say to her that I feel the opposite, that I'm not worried about her, it sounds like I'm saying I don't love you. Okay, I surrender to that. I'm not worried. This is a greater lesson for me in how to own my own vibration, no matter what, to hold the frequency of unconditional love that I know is good. And that by holding helps me know and experience the knowledge of that everybody is good, everything is good, you're good, you're loved, you're perfect as you are, nothing to worry about. In the face of someone who feels differently, and allowing that to be okay. What I realized is that it doesn't feel good to be worried about. So how is that love? Love feels good. It feels good to be loved. It doesn't feel good to be worried about. There's your answer. There's your evidence right there that worry is not love. Love is not care. Care comes from the word careful, which means to be cautious, which is fear-based. It's controlling, it's manipulative, it's diminished. Care, worry are not love. They are not the same thing. But I am learning to allow for other people to feel that way. And if somebody is worried about me, I'm not going to worry about it. Right? I could be worried about someone worrying about me. I could care that someone cares about me. Or I can just let that be. I can include that in my allowance, my acceptance of the idness of all that is, the idness. And just say, okay, you are allowed to care. You are allowed to be worried. I am not worried that you are worried about me. I don't care that you care about me. And let that sound like what it sounds like. Because I'm not shaken by it. I know better. I know better. And I know her soul knows. And we communicate in the fifth dimension. And it's all good. So this is a lesson for me. It's a practice for me, which I appreciate. And then again, see that all things are to my benefit. Even for someone to worry about me, it gives me the opportunity to let that be, to not care, to not be concerned with anyone else's concern, to know they are allowed. They're allowed to choose. They are creating in their own reality, but it does not affect mine. It has no effect whatsoever on my experience and my reality. And my experience, my knowing, is that it's all good. Everything that true love is absolutely steady and doesn't care, doesn't give a fuck. That is love. I can feel the riling of ego within me, and again, I just say to myself, to my own ego, that's okay. That's okay. You're allowed to experience. You're allowed to feel. I allow the isness of this moment exactly as it is, which includes this sensation, this sort of repulsion, and appreciates that by this feeling I have a greater understanding of what unconditional love truly is. It's not this. It's not worry. It's not concern. It's, wanting the best for somebody, wanting that person to feel good and be okay and have happiness, but knowing that is promised and wholly within their grasp and their control and reliant upon nothing and no one else. And they got it. Nothing to worry about. Yeah. I want you to be good, and you're good. And even when you're not feeling good, you're good. I'm not concerned. Anyway, that's it. A clear demonstration for me that that as much love as there is, these components are not, they're not like. To have a different definition of love from someone is allowed. Absolutely. All of us are a part, both of us are a part of this broader consciousness, which is good. And everything is exactly as it should be. Yeah, so, I don't know. That's all I got. Just had to let that out. And I have this feeling, this sense that these sorts of conversations where something is suddenly made very clear, where a dichotomy, where a juxtaposition is revealing that these things don't blend. They're a part of the greater whole in which everything works together. But these individual components are different. And they benefit in their difference from one another by revealing that contrast. In other words, again, we have to know with clarity what we don't want to know what we do. That's a lot of what all of this is. The source wanted to know itself with clarity, so it gave itself the opportunity to know some things that it doesn't really agree with. But it's big enough to contain them. It's big enough to allow them. It's big enough to admit that these things exist. They're a part of it. They're just not the essential. And by shifting that perspective, it's revealed that love is the core. Love is the source. I don't know, my little human brain is getting all tangled up in it, but just a need for expression. It's a beautiful day. Hope you're out there enjoying it. I love you.